Lockdown situation! Everybody back in their cell!
There are birds outside.
There are birds outside.
There are birds outside.
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 Out.
100?
More.
6,000?
More.
90,000?
More. 1 million.
Probably more.
Are inside.
Inside.
In.
Hopeless.
Uneducated.
Hopeless.
Unloved.
Hopeless.
Forgotten.
Hopeless. Children. We're children. No reform. We're children. No forgiveness. We're children. No future. We're children. No advocates. Just children.
Criminal. Reprobate. Delinquent.
Children.
Incorrigible. Promiscuous. Dangerous.
Children.
I was abused.
Neglected.
Coerced.
I am still a child.
Guilty. Guilty.
Guilty.
Gone.
Children.
I want to be better.
I want to do better.
I want to feel better.
Deserve better.
Children. Over 1 million.
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 Inside.
Inside.
In.
Prison.
There are birds outside.
There are birds outside.
There are birds outside.
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 Out.
The United Nations Children's Fund has estimated that there are more than 1 million children behind bars around the world.
Many of these child inmates are held in abusive, decrepit, and demeaning conditions. They are deprived in education, any access to meaningful activities, or regular contact with the outside world.
The United States incarcerates more youth than any other country in the industrialized world. It is estimated around 60,000 are in juvenile facilities.
Worse, the U.S. sends a vast majority of youth, 95,000 kids, to adult jails and prisons.
Children as young as 8 years old have been prosecuted as adults in the United States.
Did you know that before 2005, 365 kids had been legally executed in the United States? Thankfully, since the case of Roper versus Simmons, the U.S. Supreme Court has declared execution of juveniles unconstitutional.
Yet many children will still die in prison since they have been sentenced to life without parole, giving them no chance for a future as an adult.
Children around the world often receive excessive or disproportionate sentences.
Because of infrastructure issues and sheer disregard, the most stringent sentencing is often the first and only given. 73 countries, including the US, still give life sentences. Many of these kids who face living their entire life behind bars never even touched a weapon, hurt anyone directly, or stole anything. They were just with the wrong people at the wrong time.
Many children are locked up for acts that shouldn't be crimes at all. They spend long periods of time in facilities under lockdown for acts such as skipping school, running away from home, or just being incorrigible. Many have never even been tried for their alleged crimes. They are simply put away.
Throughout the world, kids are imprisoned for being migrants, being disabled, being homeless, for disobeying their parents, or for mildly offending someone older than them. Many of these would not be considered crimes if they were adults.
Girls are often imprisoned as a result of specific restrictions on their freedom of movement. Many girls around the world are incarcerated for being victims of crimes that have been done to them.
Young children are developmentally incapable of exercising judgment, maturity, and having the knowledge necessary to competently defend themselves against criminal prosecution in adult court. Yet in places like Zambia, the absence of a dedicated juvenile justice system can make kids wait months or even years for their cases to be concluded.
And in the US, while the Supreme Court has developed clear guidelines for making sure adults are competent enough to be submitted to criminal prosecution, they have not developed any rules that address the unique characteristics of children.
The issue of child imprisonment isn't about if children should be held accountable for their actions by society. It's about how, by what means, for how long, in what conditions, and with who.
Children should be treated differently than adults because they are different than adults. How are they going to learn to be a good citizen if they are kept from being part of society?
Children who are allowed to learn, change, and explore all parts of their soul and world can and will soar to great heights. Kids can soar up into the world if only we will let them be outside, free like the birds.
There are birds outside. Outside. Out from behind bars.